Welcome to episode 5 of the Wandering Womb podcast. We are coming to you today from a little island off the coast of France because we decided to drive and have a 1,000-mile drive.
Yeah.
Instead of sit in the house and order takeaways and work. So we decided to take work with us and wander around and drive. We are having a drink and we're going to be talking about coming out and being out as lesbians. Because we've been talking about this today, and we talk about this quite a bit anyway. Just as we've been finding our feet over the last sort of 18 months. And it's just a really interesting topic, and we end up having these really deep conversations about it. So, you want to tell them about the wine?
Okay, so last night is the first night we sort of got here to the island, and we found a restaurant accidentally.
Yeah, it was an accidental restaurant.
Yeah, and then...
Weren't we looking for a toilet? Is that how it happened? We were just driving around in the pitch black, and you were saying...
and I was like, oh no, I need a wee.
Yeah.
Because we didn't know where we were or where we were going.
No,
really.
we didn't, did we?
We found that gorgeous outdoor restaurant, and then we wanted to buy some wine to take back to our, to where we're staying. And then one of the, what was she, like a waitress, she came out and she presented us with this bottle of wine.
It's covered in barnacles.
Yeah, and sand and sediments and stuff. And basically, it's a red wine that is from the south of France, and they leave it to mature how many meters under the sea?
40, was it?
Yeah.
20, 40.
Yeah, something like that, under the sea. They leave it to mature under there, and all they have is they just keep a cork in it, and it smells.
I think it smells like the sea, but it doesn't taste like the sea.
Yeah, it smells just a little bit like the sea. It's gorgeous though, and that's what we're drinking tonight. So I hope that you guys...
In these tiny little travel wine glass things.
Yeah, they're very small.
They are tiny. Although they're cute.
Yeah.
I like yours because it's more square than mine.
I like mine because it looks like a goblet.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The colour of this wine's really deep.
I feel like Tyrion Lannister. I've got a tiny little goblet. I drink and I know things.
Is he the little dude?
Yeah, on Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Possibly one of my favourite characters.
He is fucking awesome in that role, though. Awesome. Yeah. I remember a bit. I didn't watch that much Game of Thrones. I think I was maybe writing up the PhD.
What, for all the years of Game of Thrones?
Yeah. I did a PhD for 3 years.
Yeah, Game of Thrones was out way before
And then before that I was doing a degree. Honestly, I went through a phase where I just didn't watch TV for 8 years.
I didn't, but I watched Game of Thrones.
I know, I remember.
Because I fancied Daenerys Targaryen. That brings us nicely on to...
Yeah, she's absolutely gorgeous in that, though.
No, only me.
I love that you're allowed to say it, but I'm not.
I was a long time ago.
Oh, I see. That makes it alright then.
Yeah.
Fine.
Only me.
Only you. Okay, so we some of you are gonna know and some of you aren't gonna know, but we came out officially about a year ago, but unofficially about 18 months ago. Is that right or not?
No, we came out officially in September.
Yeah, so not even a year ago.
No.
Yeah, so 10 months ago officially.
Yeah.
Although we didn't be hey, we're both lesbians. We just was in a relationship together.
Yeah, we came out as being in a relationship.
Yeah, and then I think some people thought it might have been a joke at first. You know, when two close friends we're in a relationship together on social media.
Yeah.
And then people were like, oh no, they're serious.
Yeah. Well, considering we've both gone through breakups, sometimes mates do that, don't they? Let's just put that we're in a relationship on Facebook.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about what it was like to come out, what it was like before we came out. So because like questioning sexuality was sometimes like we talk about it and it's similar between us two, and then other times it's like quite different because we've just lived different lives and stuff like that.
All lesbians are actually different.
No,
believe it or not, and we don't all know each other.
We're all just one homogenous group that we're all part of the same community.
The lesbian community think this.
Oh, I know, fucking hell. Honestly. And then we're going to talk about what it's like being out, like our reflections on that, especially as we ended up having this really long conversation about it today, when we were sat having a cocktail. So, okay, where should we start? Start at the start.
Right, so I was going to say, when did you start questioning your sexuality, right? But I'm not going to say that because I think, well, yeah, I mean, I guess. Yeah, when did you start questioning your sexuality?
I don't think I ever... Right, okay. I don't think I ever questioned it. I think I always knew that I fancied girls from when I was really little. Mm-hmm. However, and this is why I think the conversations around compulsory heterosexuality is so important for women and girls. It just never entered my head that there was a possibility that I was solely attracted to girls. Like, that I was actually lesbian. I never even crossed my mind. And I definitely... Now when I look back, I can think of like films, music videos, I can think of like girls around me that I fancied. I started messing around properly with girls and like sort of I'd like kissed girls and like, you know, done other stuff by like middle school.
Like, so you got to explain what middle school is.
I'm not doing that again. I'm not doing that every fucking podcast. What middle school is?
You
Basically,
say, like, what year?
Yeah. So I think I was in year 8, which would have made me between 12 and 13.
Yeah.
No, year 7. So I was between 11 and 12 when I'd like actually, you know, been intimate with girls, and I was so private about it. I don't think I ever spoke to anybody about it, except so there were girls in my year that I had done that with, and then like we all just saw each other every day at school and just carried on,
and
like
pretend it
it never happened. And it wasn't a shame thing. It was sort of like a, you know this about me, I know this about you, move on. And I can honestly say not a single one of those girls spoke. I can honestly say nobody knew. No, we got all the way through high school, and nobody spoke out about it. Nobody said anything. And I just don't know where that leaves us. Is that because we were all like scared, or because we all like none of us knew what it meant? All of us were seeing boys or like, you know, in relationships with boys or whatever. But yeah, so like for me, I was young. You were younger than me though, weren't you? Like when you started, like from the conversations me and you have had, when you like think that you started like being attracted to girls.
Yeah. Sorry, you just said stuff and it made me think about some other stuff that I'm not gonna say on this podcast, and I'll probably tell you later. It's just triggered some memories that I didn't know I had.
Oh God.
But yeah, sorry, what was the question?
Oh my God, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Promise.
Yeah, it's not bad. I just didn't realise I had those memories.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I was just saying, like, you were younger than me when, I think from the conversations me and you have had, I think you were younger than me when you realised you were attracted to girls.
I just always fancied girls. I fancied girls before I fancied boys, right?
Yeah.
But... Right, okay, so this could sound really weird. I thought I fancied boys because girls I fancied boys. And if I couldn't have them, I wanted to be like them.
Yeah, I don't think I ever thought about it that fucking deep.
Oh, I did. I definitely did. But, like, I think... I don't know. So I don't think that I ever necessarily questioned my sexuality, but I don't, until probably I realised that I was in love with you. But before then, it just never seemed a possibility, because a lesbian is like, it seems like a spectacle, isn't it? And you think, in such a heteronormative society, you think, oh, I'm not like that. I'm like, I think I'm quite normal.
I think I honestly grew up with zero like representation or imagery of lesbians ever. So my only understanding of lesbians was lesbian jokes. You know, like, my understanding of lesbians literally went as far as people making jokes about short hair and double denim, and boys at school calling you a rug muncher.
Yeah,
that is literally my was my knowledge of lesbianism.
Yeah.
That was it. And that, like, I just did not put two and two together. I spent so much time fancying like women and girls, and I don't know. I just never like connected the dots. However, I was about 21 or 22 when I started being like, I'm bi. I'm definitely bi, because like I started to understand sexuality, and then I was like, oh, I must be bi because I'm in relationships with guys, but I fancy women. It wasn't until probably 25 or 26 where I was like, no, actually, I'm much more attracted to women and like to women than I am to men. And then it was like, I was still, I think, a bit in denial about the fact that I'd started to process that I wasn't actually attracted to men at all. And then I think I felt trapped, and then I just had a complete breakdown and got ill. And then I was just like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, and that happened because of you. It was like...
Sorry, babe.
It was just realising how I felt about you through everything. It just threw my entire life upside down, because then I was like, started to realise that I'd never ever felt these feelings or emotions or experiences towards men and boys that I did towards you. And I kept questioning why that was possible. Like, how is it possible to love and also to be attracted to you in a way that I've never ever felt before? And you know, because we've had these conversations since, that I'm still having to process that. I don't think I've ever been properly attracted to men and boys, and then that makes me really sad, because then I've been trapped in these relationships with them where being intimate was difficult, or it was awful, or like I don't know, I just wasn't attached to them, and I just, yeah, it makes me sad a bit. But me and you've had this conversation like a lot, like while we're still having to like go back over old ground sometimes.
I think something for me is that you have this stereotype of lesbians being like old. It's always older women with short hair is the stereotype. And I didn't fancy that sort of woman. So I thought, well, I can't be a lesbian, because that's, oh yeah, I only have girl crushes.
Oh yeah, the concept of girl crush is so interesting as well, because I think
I would stare at girls like, and just think, oh my god, you are just gorgeous. And you say to yourself, oh, like, I wish I could look like that or whatever, but it's a lot deeper than that.
Yeah, do you remember when you said to me ages ago that you were like, I can't, like, you start to wonder whether it's like, I want to be her or be like her, or whether it's that you actually fancy her. And then you get stuck between looking at her and being like, oh, I wish I looked like her, or I wish I was her, or is it that you're actually really attracted to her and you're sort of repressing it slightly, so you're in denial, so you find another outlet for it, what it might mean.
I just remember when I was a kid, I used to say, no, I only kiss girls.
So like, this is right. Okay, so this is what I think is really interesting about heteronormative society and compulsory heterosexuality, is that people are claiming that it doesn't exist. I've had a lot of shit for talking about it. So have you, actually. when we've like tweeted publicly or whatever. And I'm sorry, but it does definitely exist to the extent where you can convince yourself that you are straight or that you are attracted to men and boys.
Yeah.
When you're actually not, and you accept these substandard forms of attraction and substandard forms of intimacy and substandard forms of emotional connection.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
And then like now being like, no, oh God, honestly, I cannot tell you the weight that lifted off me when I realised that I was a lesbian. It was fucking terrifying, but then I was just like, oh my God, thank God.
I think that something people are like, oh, well, how come you've only just figured out you're a lesbian when you're 21? You can be in a relationship with a man where
it's like platonic.
You love them, but not in like a way that like another straight woman would love a man.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and this is the same for so many different women, and if you speak to any of my university friends, they'll be like, oh God, Jamie's going through that phase again where her boyfriend, she keeps saying that her boyfriend feels like her dad.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, he just feels like my dad.
Yeah.
And like...
What, in like you had like almost like a platonic, almost like a relationship where he was like, what, protective, authoritative? How did he feel like a dad?
Just... I wasn't attracted.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
You mean like when people go, he's like my brother? It's like being in a relationship with my brother. Like, you know how some people get into...
because it's not... It wasn't like that. Like, I didn't... It was... He was, you know, like... I felt protected. And that's another thing. When you're in a heteronormative society, you sort of, as a woman, you're looking for, perhaps subconsciously, maybe just because of the way society is, a man to sort of protect you.
Yeah.
And make you feel safe. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, of course.
And you can have a good relationship with a man when you're like a lesbian, but that doesn't mean that it's a sexual relationship
attraction
or an attraction. Just the same as like I have some of my best mates who are boys. I love them to pieces, but I'm not attracted to them.
Yeah.
I love them, but I'm not.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But then if you're not having women around you having these types of conversations, how the fucking hell would you ever know that any of this like depth and nuance is even possible? Yeah, it was I think it was rough, I think, for me. Like, I mean, obviously my story is a little bit different to yours in that I often wonder what would have happened if I wasn't exploited and abused and trafficked and raped like between 11 and 18, because I was definitely already starting to see girls and be really interested in girls, and I obviously had been intimate with girls and really fancied them. And then, sorry, Jamie's just offered me another glass of wine, which is a hard yes. Like, I often do wonder what would have happened. It wasn't loud enough. It's not like popping a cork on champagne. It's an already opened bottle of barnacle wine.
Barnacle wine, fucking hell.
Careful. Okay. That'll do, donkey. Thank you.
That'll do, donkey.
That'll do. Yeah, I do wonder. It's not something I'm hung up on, though. But every now and then I do think, I wonder if none of that ever happened to me, whether I would have ended up figuring it out much faster and much more comfortable with the fact that I was actually really attracted to those girls in my year. But then I got completely distracted by all the shit that was going on in my life, and then, you know, drink and drugs and whatever. And then it's taken me like 2 decades. You know what I mean? To be like, oh no, actually. So it's sort of like me at like in my late 20s being like, oh, 11-year-old me was right.
Yeah.
I've just gone on this long convoluted journey to come right back to where I was at 11.
Did you ever feel like when you were in your teenage years that like girls you fancied had boyfriends and therefore you wanted a boyfriend?
No. That's not how... I do get the feeling of all the girls that I fancied had boyfriends, though. All the girls that I was messing around with were in relationship with boys at the time I was messing around with them. And that's like... In fact, I can't think of I actually can't think of one that wasn't. Maybe one who was like, but, and I'm not going to accept either that it was like, oh, it's just girls experimenting, because it was more than that. And there was like a couple in particular that were like really quite, we should do that again, we should keep meeting up, we should do this, we should, like, there's no way that those girls aren't at bare minimum bi.
Yeah, but if a boy does that, people aren't like, oh, he's experimenting. People
Oh no,
like,
they're
you
like,
are
he's gay.
gay.
Yeah, I know. I think the standards around males being gay and females being gay are just completely fucking different.
But like, if a man's bi, he's told you're not bi, you're just gay and you don't want to come out.
Yeah.
Whereas when a woman's bi, they're like, oh, you're just straight and you're messing around.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when you're a woman who's a lesbian, especially if you're a woman who's a femme lesbian, you're often not taken seriously by most people.
Yeah, no, we talk about this a lot. I mean, okay. One thing I will say before we get into this femme discussion is that I'm really beginning to resent the almost like the assumption that there's femme versus butch lesbians, because I think that me and you present differently depending on what mood we're in and how we come across. And I also think a lot of the femme lesbian stereotype is like the assumption that we're like fucking really hyper feminine, or that we're like hair, makeup.
But you get categorised into it, and I actually, if I'm going to be honest, and I've not actually thought about this before, I think it's how attractive you are to men, whether you're femme or butch. Considered femme or butch. Do you know what I mean?
Whether you conform to the standards of femininity or not, which is what men are attracted to. Is that what you're saying? Like desirability?
Yeah.
I think there's... Yeah. I think what I meant by that...
But I think that's why there's so many, like, the stereotype is so many butch lesbians.
I think it just... to be honest with you, I think the difference between femme and butch in lesbians is literally just another gender role stereotype.
Yeah. It's
whether you present like masculine presenting or feminine presenting. What I guess I'm saying is that I think people have got me and you pinned as like, oh, they're like ultra feminine lesbians. I actually don't think either of us, when you get to know us really well, that I don't think either of us sit particularly there. Like, I think in terms of the way that our behaviours and characters are, we're actually really quite mixed.
For sure.
And I also think that both of us, in terms of even things like the way we present, the way we dress, can be really mixed. Both of us can.
Well, a lot of my clothes are, like, my hoodies and stuff are men's.
Yeah, I know. I know you dress frequently in men's clothing, actually.
Yeah.
And I think people just assume...
Well, it's because I put the pictures that I upload and stuff. I tend to, like, when I'm making an effort, I'm more femme. But just day to day, I have my hair scraped back in a bun or in a ponytail. I'm wearing men's clothes. I don't think I own anything that's like...
I can't think of anything really feminine that you own, actually.
No, I don't wear like frilly, flowery stuff or anything like that. I wear stuff that's quite... I don't know.
I think you can wear like sexy clothes.
Yeah, I was going to say that, but I didn't want to.
Well, they are sexy clothes. Like,
yeah.
Not... Don't know how that would come across as an issue.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just think it's just really... I think it's more complex than it initially comes across. And then there's a lot of assumptions and stereotypes attached to that. I think that there is... one thing I will say, though, even though we're having a nuanced conversation, is that to the outside world, it is not nuanced. I.e., they'll see lesbians as either butch or femme.
Yeah.
So, and the thing is, in this really weird way... And we've noticed this, you're almost more accepted as a real lesbian if you are butch, if you're both butch, than if one of you is butch and one is femme, or if you're both femme. We still almost get like disbelief or sexualization or just weird looks and comments on the internet because of the way we both look, even though we're both very different in the way that we look. There is this assumption almost that we're playing at it because we're not butch presenting. You're not a real lesbian if you're not butch presenting, that type of thing.
Well, it's like, oh, you must want it.
Yeah, I know. Like those fucking comments that we read about us. You know, about like, oh, Jess and Jaimi can't even have a conversation with their tits without their tits popping out or something like that. And that was like, you know, feminists who we know who wrote those comments, and then we had to read them. And it was like so weird.
I didn't know any of them though, but obviously they'd been looking at my pictures enough to know that I've got big boobs, but I don't really get my yeah, no, I do get my tits out a lot.
No, you do not. No, you absolutely don't. You sometimes wear like a low cut vest or like a vest top. That's it.
I don't know, I think it's just people make me feel like I do. Because I've got big boobs. So, like, I can't help it if you can see my boobs. I can't help it if you can see the fact I have got big boobs.
Yeah, I know, same. Fucking
And people are like, oh, you're always getting them out. Like, no, they're just there. Like, I can't do anything with them.
Yeah, I know. I think the thing that annoyed me about that, though, was, like, they are women who should know better and who apparently had this understanding of gender and femininity and sexism and misogyny, and then they're making comments like, oh, like, you know, Jess and Jaimi have both got big tits, and like when they talk to each, I can't imagine them having a serious conversation without the tits falling out or like popping out while they're talking. Like, it was such a weird thing to read about ourselves that they had dumbed us down. It was like, oh, I can't imagine them having a serious conversation.
Oh, they've got nice boobs, or they've got big boobs. Oh, that must mean that they're
stupid.
Yeah,
that pissed me off. Like that sort of almost like this bimbo type stereotype. Like, I think the other thing that we get a lot of is the looks. The sort of like people trying to figure out why we're holding hands, or why we're touching each other, or why we've kissed, or the sort of, you can, in some people you can tell it's like interest, and in other people it's sexualization, like usually men obviously, where they're looking at you like a piece of fucking meat. And then you get the weird stereotypes.
Would you say that like the looks bother you more, or like the comments? So like some comments that we've received about us being just fucking lesers or whatever. No,
it's, do you know what? Honestly, it's the looks.
I actually agree.
Like, you know when we get those comments from like the religious right that are all like, you're gonna burn in hell, you fucking lesbians, and you're just like,
repent.
Yeah, and you're just like, oh, shut the fuck up, and just like, you know what I mean? It doesn't. You just think, what a fucking bell end. Like, it doesn't. It's like water off a duck's back, right? But when you are physically walking through a shop, or we're both like getting some dinner, or doing something boring as hell, like just living our lives, just doing something, walking down a street, or going into a bank, or like, you know, fucking, and then you've got like someone staring at you like you're a freak, and you can't work out whether they're about to have a go at you, or make a comment to you, or whether they're going to be all right with you. It's the stairs, it's the sort of the, I think it's the unknown, because I don't know whether that, you know what I was saying to you earlier, like, I don't know whether they're looking at us because they're just like, oh, they think they're gay, maybe they're sisters, oh no, they're gay, they just kiss, they're gay, like do you know what I mean? Or whether it's people being like, oh, that's fucking disgusting, like, why are they out, you know, holding hands like that, or whether it's just like, I mean, like that time, we've had a few times where we've had really like sexualized comments, like that guy that asked me to fuck his missus in front of you.
Oh my god, I was so mad. But the thing is, like, if I was to say something, it could just turn violent.
Yeah, see, this is the thing, isn't it? And that's what I said to you like yesterday when I was like, or today when we were talking, that the problem that I've got with it is that if they keep staring, there's gonna be, if they catch me in a bad mood, it's going to be like, what you fucking staring at? Fuck off. Like, leave us alone. What do you want, a fucking picture? And then the problem with that is that they're not going to then go, oh, I'm really sorry. I shouldn't, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to do that. They're going to jump on the fucking defence and they're going to fucking attack, whether that's verbally or physically. Yeah. And then and then that leaves us both in an altercation that we don't want to fucking be in. And like, you just don't know how it's going to play out.
It's just the constantness of it. Like, it's constant.
Yeah, it is. It is constant. I think I'm just feeling it today.
Yeah. So we were going and getting some food, and there was 4 people, 2 couples, husbands and wives, and both the women were like looking at us like disgusted. One of the men was looking at us extremely confused, and the other man was looking like eyeing us up and
yeah, he was disgusting.
Yeah.
And the thing was, because we were socially distancing and we were in a queue, which meant that we all had to stand there for a significant length of time.
We were there 20 minutes and they were all doing it.
Yeah, and it was like the whole time. That man who was like proper stare, the starey, like the one that you could tell. Oh god, the lechy guy.
He was like, yeah.
Honestly, there was a few times where there was like, you remember when I backed off and I went and like stood right back near that column, and I just thought, fuck that, I don't want to be near them. But you're right, there was another couple as well, that walked past to sort of, and did you see the fucking look that woman gave us?
Which one? The one with the kids?
She had a dress, so she was with her other male partner, and he was looking at us, and then I think she clocked him.
Was he looking at us in a sexual way?
I don't know.
And then she was like...
She was fucking disgusting. She literally gave me the dirtiest look.
She just snogged me.
I know, I just thought to myself, fucking hell, I'm not shagging her now.
I know, yeah.
I'm not standing in line with the pizza with a strap-on on. I'm stood here waiting for my pizza, fucking in a queue.
Oh, you don't look like lesbians. Yeah. Do you remember? We get that sometimes as well, don't we?
Do you remember that when that woman in Pizza Hut ages ago, and I'd said to you on the way out, oh yeah, sorry, I don't wear my strap-on to Pizza Hut. What the fuck is wrong with people? Yeah, you're right. She was trying to be nice to us, wasn't she? And then she was like,
oh, you don't look like lesbians. Like, okay, well, being a lesbian isn't an insult, is it?
Yeah, so that's the first connotation of that comment. And then the other one is, what does that even mean? Like, what are we supposed to look like? Aren't we just supposed to look like 2 women? Because that is a lesbian, like, they are lesbians. Like, you don't look like lesbian. And then you're right, it's like, oh, that's nice, because you don't look like you're a lesbian, which is good for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, what? But do you remember when she said that, and we just sort of stood there? Because what comeback do you use when you're like a complete stranger in a fucking restaurant?
It's the fact that people feel the need,
that they can comment on it.
The entitlement that they can comment on it. Like, I'm not saying to you, oh, you
don't look straight.
Well, no, but if you're like...
we should start saying that to people.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't look straight, do you? I thought it was your brother.
Yeah, well, exactly. Oh, you two don't look like you're together. You look like brother and sister. Is that your dad? Yeah. Like, I'm sure people do get that. I've got it before, but...
Oh my god, we could. Oh my god, that would be so much fun. If like the next time someone says it to us, be like, "Oh, that's so weird you say that," because we were just thinking that you don't look straight at all. You don't look. I mean, you and your partner don't look straight, do you? You don't.
Oh, that's weird, because we thought your partner looked gay.
Because then they'd be like, "What does that mean? What's that supposed to mean?" Like, well, precisely.
Yeah,
you just fucking did it to us.
Yeah.
Fuck knows. You tell us what it means. You fucking said it.
Yeah, I agree. I
don't know whether the stares are actual homophobia sometimes, or whether they're like...
Oh no, some of them, it's trying to work out, like... Well, I mean, neither of us exactly look like normal people.
What the fuck is that supposed to mean?
We both have tattoos.
Careful with that wine.
Right, I can see it. We both have tattoos.
You're not holding it. She's balancing a glass of wine.
That's fine. We both have tattoos. I have a massive stretcher and loads of metal in my nose. It's not that long ago that I had green hair, purple hair, pink hair, red hair.
I have a fringe.
You have like...
Which is apparently the ultimate sin on
I know,
social
yeah.
media, having a fringe.
No, you have a short fringe, my dear.
It really annoys me when they're like, hey, you got short bangs. I'm like, dude, what is a bang? First of all, it's a fringe. Don't come step to me and tell me I've got a dyke fringe, which is what I get called all the time. Or dyke bangs, that's what turf bangs is the other one, isn't it?
Don't
Oh,
know.
fuck off. Congratulations, I have a shorter fringe than other people's fringes. What the
I like your
fuck?
fringe.
Right, okay, just to be clear, the fringe is short and has been for years because when I have a longer fringe, because I wear glasses and because my face is a bit small and my skull is like super tiny and I wear like children's sized like 3-year-old hats because I have a tiny, tiny head for some fucking reason. When I graduated from my PhD and they didn't have a fucking beret that fit my fucking head because my head was so fucking small, and they were like, we don't do children's sizes for the PhD. I was like, brilliant, fucking great. Anyway, but so because of that, when I have a short fringe, it opens my face up a bit and I can get away with wearing like thick framed glasses and like you can see some of my forehead and stuff like that. It's amazing how many people, I'm thinking of one particular person who you'll probably be able to tell who I'm talking about just by looking at me, who was like, you all look the same. You all got short fringes.
You feminist lesbians.
You've all got short fringes and glasses.
I'm sorry, but I don't know another feminist lesbian who looks like you at all.
Do you not?
Short fringe and glasses.
I'm trying to think.
Not
No.
only that I know, and I know quite a lot.
Yeah.
Hello, feminist lesbians. And everyone else. Have you got any weird coming out experiences or stories?
Weird?
Yeah, like what was the strangest or most unexpected thing that happened to you when you came out?
Okay, right. Honestly, the first thing that came to my head then, so if I just truly accept what just came to my head and don't like censor it, is that the most unexpected thing that happened to me was that my entire family was just sound as fuck about it.
Yeah.
Like, didn't even flinch.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Like, I was expecting there to be issues. But I don't know why I was expecting there to be issues, but I did. Maybe because where we all come from or whatever, there was not a fucking issue. And it was like
You probably would be the only gay in the village.
yeah, fucking hell. Well, probably not. It's just that none of else of them are probably out, but they're
You know what I mean.
But yeah, like my entire family were just didn't even flinch. I don't know whether that's what they felt like inside, i.e. they may well have been shocked, but they did not transfer any of that to me. I didn't get it from anybody, like any type of shock or anything like that. So that, I think, was my weird... Like, I know that's not a negative thing, but
No, of course.
it was weird because I was expecting loads of negativity from my family and friends, and I didn't get a single bit from anybody, like, genuinely.
Yeah.
That was a shock. And I'm not going to name who it is, but, like, you know yourself that I told somebody who's really close to me, and they gave me the impression that they're not straight immediately.
Which one, Jess? Because
Yeah, there was a few,
there's
wasn't
been like...
No, I mean like someone like
yeah, yes.
like, and I was just really taken aback by that I was just like, oh, okay. And then I have like my little sister's lesbian and had been out maybe like 3 years before me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was like, and then my cousin's lesbian and married a woman, and I just like, I don't know. I don't know why I thought that my family had been. I don't know where that came from. But yeah,
I liked what your nana said.
Oh god.
Jess's nana said it was Christmas, wasn't it? And we all were around at your mum's, and we were sat on the sofa with your nana, and your nana was like, "Oh, I've never met a lady who likes another lady before." It was so cute.
And then, like, I was just thinking, you probably have. You've probably met loads. Like, at your age, there's no way. There's no way that you've just walked through life and never met a lesbian. No fucking way.
Bless
A
her.
lady that likes another lady.
I like that.
That, honestly, it's cute, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
That's the best. That's the best. I think that's a lovely definition.
Yeah, it
Except
is.
it's a little bit Little Britain. I'm a lady who loves another lady. I'm a lady.
Funny. Very funny.
What was yours like? Did you have any? I'm trying to think.
Do you know what? Again, it was just so easy.
We did have some negativity. Do you remember? We had like the whole, your daughter's a leser.
Yeah.
Was
like,
that what she said?
Somebody left my mum some voice messages.
Yeah, being really fucking shitty
just
about
being
it.
really homophobic and like, your daughter's a fucking leser.
Yeah, I couldn't believe I was fucking so shocked about that.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that someone would go to the extent of calling your fucking mum to leave fucking
I am a
voicemails
leser,
about
but
it.
I thought, so
Also,
what?
do you know what was so interesting about that was that she used lesbian as an insult. She was like, "Your daughter's a lesbian,"
Yeah.
and then your mum was like, "Yeah, no," and that was like it was that was horrible. What we did have though was the sexualization from guys. Do you remember that? We were just saying, we were just commenting earlier that seems to have died off a little bit recently. I'm not sure why that is, but when we first was together and when we first was sort of, I don't know, like talking about it publicly or posting a picture that we'd been on holiday or whatever it was that we'd done together, like gone out somewhere. We did go through a phase where we were getting like DMs and messages and and comments from guys either that we knew or strangers on the internet that were like talking about our sex lives or asking us questions that were inappropriate or talking about fucking us both and things like that. I'm not exactly sure why that's died down, but I'm glad it has because it made it. I went through a phase where
for people,
like the novelty's worn off about our relationship.
Yeah, I mean, it's like when my friend Josh was like, ironically, you've come out as a lesbian. It's only going to make guys fancy you even more. And he was right.
Yeah,
like he wasn't. He was just saying it in a way that was like, "This is what's going to happen."
Yeah, but they don't really fancy lesbians, do they? They fetishize them because of porn.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? They don't care about lesbians. They don't want to be in a relationship. They don't love them. They're not in. What they want is the concept. They want the idea or the opportunity of a threesome.
No, they want to feel like they've conquered a lesbian.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, oh, my dick's so good that even lesbians want it.
Blech. Fucking hell. Don't think so.
For anyone who didn't hear my body shudder then.
Yeah.
It did.
You're getting some more of those sound effects, are we?
No,
Every single time we do a podcast, we end up with a sound effect from you.
I'll have to think of a new sound. Oh, this is your sound effect for this this episode. It's a goat.
Oh my!
There you go. That was it.
Fucking god!
Do you know what? I've got something better. I've got the Super Mario theme. There you go.
Right? Can I just say something? That is
a lesbian superpower.
No, that's not nearly as impressive with just the audio because they need to see how you make that noise with your throat. Because they can't see what you just did. So basically, she taps her throat when she does it. That's what the noise comes from. It's not coming. She's not
pitch bend using your throat. It's great.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Honestly, I remember the first. Brilliant.
It's amazing, isn't it?
I remember the first time you ever did it, and I remember you being like, "Oh, do you think I'm weird?" And I was like, "No, that's possibly one of the most awesome things I've ever seen." I just was like, "That's amazing."
Yeah.
Oh, I love you.
I love you the most.
We were saying earlier, we don't know whether this is just going to get easier with the years.
Yeah. Like
all this stuff that we're going through. But
it's been hard being on the island.
Yeah, I think it is. In a way, like, I absolutely love this island and I love where we've driven to, but I think I'll be, I don't know, like, it might...
I'll be glad when we can go back to London.
Yeah, London always feels safe for some reason. I know. Right, we better go, hadn't we? Because we've done, I can't believe we've done 45 minutes already. So thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
We promised we were going to do the cheers at the end of everyone. So.
Ready?
Cheers, baby. Love you.
Love you.